Good morning, and welcome back, brave survivors of the Brno conference. Thank you for being with us. Thanks especially to all the partners in the European Opera Digital Project who are here today, but thank you even more to those of you who are not signed up EU partners for being here to learn more about it. It's our plan over the next hour to outline what the project's purpose is, who its partners are, what its timetable is, and how it can involve you in the future, and we hope be of benefit to all our member opera companies and indeed to opera in general. We're calling this new site youropera.eu, and the tagline is "The whole world of opera, free, live and on demand." That is the whole purpose and mission of what it is. The beauty of the World Wide Web is that it is generally available everywhere. The idea behind our site is that it should be free, and that is a crucial element in attracting support from the EU. The idea is that it is a single, accessible, go-to online destination for finding out more about our world, the world of European opera. And that, of course, it won't be totally comprehensive, but that it'll have a wide variety of material available. And as we go on, we'll explain how you can find that and the sort of structure of the platform there. A central element of it will be live streams of opera performances. And we thank especially our partners, who I will identify in a moment, who have committed to providing 2 full-scale, we call them showcase opera live streams, over the course of the 3-year project. Those operas, 30 in total at least, will be surtitled in 6 different languages, or not obviously simultaneously, but you will be able to choose to have them surtitled in Polish or whatever is your easiest language. But it's more than just the live streams of the opera. What's beautiful about the idea of the site is that it can provide contextual material from members' archives about the opera, about the composer, but also about the background, about the artists, and about the technical side as well. And it can be, if you like, a shop window for European opera houses, because it will tell you about the opera houses as well as about the operas. Moving on. I think one of the things which sold it to the European Commission was the innovative nature of it. Talking over breakfast today, I described it as a bit of an experiment, and I think that all of us see the huge possibilities of World Wide Web and the Internet, and we use them in various different ways to sell our performances and to reach new audiences. But how do we actually use them to reinvent the art form? The trouble with our lovely art form is that in most cases it's very long. You have to invest in being in a theatre for 3 hours. Shorter if it's by Janacek, of course, but which is one of his great advantages. But maybe the audience of the 21st century is more impatient, and maybe the creative artists of the 21st century will move more towards short-form material. It strikes me now that to see a new play seldom goes beyond 80 minutes, and normally is performed straight through without an intermission. So I think that what we can do with this is contribute towards the development of the art form, and as well as mine its wonderful historical past. Another important element of it for us is the way that it will link all of our opera companies together with the broadcasters. Arte, represented today by my friend here, Marie-Laure Denet, and all the members of the European Broadcasting Union, represented here today by Bernd Hellthaler, but representing broadcasters in various different countries, have been Arte as our media partner and EBU in a very supportive role, have been fantastic contributors to making this project work for a wider audience, because we realize that Opera Europa is quite a small organization. It has a staff of 4, now 5 people. We can't change the world of opera by ourselves, but in partnership with others, maybe we can. And within our profession, we can create a communication space which will be constantly updated and renovated as we go along. Brand opera is a difficult thing to define, and I've had myself fierce arguments about what we're selling, whether we're selling opera or whether we're selling Macropolis Case or Rigoletto or whatever. Part of me says you should only sell the opera itself. That's the product that people are paying to see. But as with all things, I think there is a case for a kind of generic campaign, particularly in the contemporary world where there is such a jumble of entertainment and art on offer. And sometimes today it will seem as if opera is losing out. Historically, there have been times when opera has been in the ascendant, and other times when other art forms have been in the ascendant. Spoken drama, dance, cinema, visual arts, and so on. And there is, I sense a feeling that today, that despite all the activity that goes on in the opera world, for which you're responsible, that opera needs a boost. And one of the purposes of this project is to try to give it a boost by a centrally devised and coordinated campaign. That campaign needs all of your support. And this is why we're linking it with our European Opera Days campaign, because what matters is what happens locally and on the ground. But to have a cumulative effect, that needs to be coordinated so that the voice is louder across Europe and across the world. So each of us who are partners in this thing, the signed up partners and all the other members of Opera Europa, are Arte partner, but also all the other broadcasters and indeed people working in digital media should pull together to make this work. Opera Europa, despite probably being the smallest organization involved here, is the lead partner, simply because we can be objective and represent a wide range of interests. We're not here to push Opera Europa. Opera Europa is a service organization, and our own brand is unimportant. We're there to support opera in Europe. Our media partner, without whom this would have been impossible, is Arte. Marie-Laure will speak perhaps later about why Arte should involve itself with us, but I will just say on its behalf that, of course, it is an important brand in cultural broadcasting, but that brand, because of its funding arrangements, has been firmly grounded in France and Germany, and it has ambitions which are Europe-wide and indeed worldwide, reaching a wider audience. And maybe they thought that we could be helpful in that. Together, we selected, enticed, bullied 15 opera companies from different areas of Europe with different levels of expertise in this area to become involved. We didn't just go for the top 6 brand names in European opera, although we certainly wanted some of them. And we're very grateful to the big international opera houses who've taken part in it. But we wanted it to encompass as many countries as possible. And out of the 15 opera companies, we represent 12 different countries. 3 countries, France, Germany, and the United Kingdom, have 2 partner opera companies in this thing, but all the others are single representatives of their country. And it was important for us in this project that they were not all at the same level of professional technical expertise in this area. Some, like Covent Garden or Wiener Staatsoper, have already developed quite sophisticated streaming operations. Others are dabbling in it and have more to learn. Others are right at the beginning, and that is part of the purpose of this scheme, that it is a professional learning scheme. And this is an area in which we are also looking to help from EBU and IMZ, who have founded an IMZ Academy designed to provide professional help. And later on, Bernd Hellthaler will say a few words about that. I don't like this slide. No, sorry, no, I didn't mean that at all. It's important. Go back, please. We found it the same in our newsletter. It is terribly difficult to illustrate on a PowerPoint or on paper something which you actually see on a screen. It immediately looks flat in a way that it doesn't when you get it up on your iPad. But, well, look, it's an illustration, and maybe when we get on to the experts from Arte, they can make it come alive a bit more. Let me just mention a few of the features. The idea of the scheme is that we introduce a new showcase opera every month during the 3 years of the project. But to make sure that we launch with a big bang, there will be 5 operas in the first month, so that there will at least be a variety. And the length of time on which each of those showcase operas will be available is 6 months. Obviously, during the course of the 6 months of those first 5 operas, others will become introduced in the second month, or third month, the fourth month, and so on. And then gradually they will drop out and be replaced by others, so that it just doesn't become stale. These showcase operas will be subtitled in English, French, German, Spanish, Italian, and Polish, the 6 most populous countries of Europe. I realize we probably would have got a large extra grant from the EU if we'd subtitled them in Latvian, because the Commission is very keen to encourage the use of minority languages, but we felt that 6 was already quite ambitious and that we should try to go for those with the maximum populations. The homepage, the front page of the site will be in 3 different languages, English, French, and German. In addition to these showcase operas, and really as important in my view, is what we call short-form contextual material, which will be carefully curated and edited, and about which we are going to be consulting you at the end of this session, and it will be edited to form a kaleidoscope of interesting material about opera, both from the present and from archives. Another lovely slide with even more impermeable visuals. If you have better eyesight than mine, you can probably see that those represent areas in which you can click on particular opera companies. I think that's correct, isn't it? I certainly can't see it from here. So that each of our partner theatres will have a space within the site for their material, and links to social media and their own branding. You can also, via this site, move smoothly and easily, and I'm sure with wonderful signage, towards Arte Concert, which is their own separately branded streaming website, which of course has a much wider remit than merely opera. We are proud that ours is only opera, but Arte has a wider brief. Enough of that. Can you read those? This lists the countries and the opera companies who have signed up to the project. And you will see it's a pretty impressive collection of member companies. The order is simply in alphabetical order of the countries. I don't know how many of them are represented here today, but all of them we are extremely grateful to, because, okay, if you're the Royal Opera House Covent Garden, you have a lot of expertise in this area already. You have an extremely successful broadcasting system. Royal Opera House has acquired its own production company, Opus Arte. It has already a live streaming operation. Its expertise is very valuable for the project, and from the start they have been extremely generous in sharing that expertise with other companies. The Wiener Staatsoper, as you probably know, already has its live streaming system and streams upwards of 30 operas a year from its repertory. It didn't really need to join our scheme as well, but it will contribute to our scheme with 2 live streams and some of its wonderful archival material over the course of the thing. And again, we're very grateful to them. Others, such as La Monnaie in Brussels and the Aix-en-Provence Festival, Amsterdam Dutch National Opera, Teatro Real in Spain, already are on the way with their own operations, but still have more to develop, and they're already extremely valuable and important members. Others are at an earlier stage of development, and as those of you who attended our rights sessions yesterday will realize are still struggling with issues such as acquiring performance rights. And one of the purposes of this scheme is to come up with ways in which that can be done in an effective way. It's really important that we have partners from Finland and Norway, from Latvia, from Poland, from Wales, and so on, as part of this scheme, because they do fantastic work, and this is an opportunity to share it in a wider way.
I suggest we hear from the partner now. Is it possible to have a microphone down here, please? A few of the partners are going to share with you their plans for the platform, what they're planning on sharing, whether it's full performances, but also contextual material, just to give you an idea of what we're looking for and what you might find. I'd like to start.
Because they're original.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. Well, we are going. We have suggested 2 operas for starting in June already. I'm very excited what state of development the platform will have in May when it's launched. After having launched the platform ourselves, this is really a challenging task. But we are offering in June a Rosenkavalier production, and for March 2016 a Bohème. But since we are not streaming more than 30 but more than 40 performances in the upcoming seasons, per season, 40 different operas, we are open to discussion. So whatever, if there are 4 other Rosenkavaliers and 3 other Bohèmes, we will be able to offer also another kind of opera as full opera that we put on for free. And we have a lot of contextual material I have running here. This is last night's Chovanshchina broadcast from Vienna in time zone something like Alaska. So it's right at the moment there's the interval going on with contextual material, in this case about our choir. And here this is time zone, one time zone after Alaska, I don't know what it is, and this is the Chovanshchina already going on, but this is the overture of the Chovanshchina. So I could open a third device in a different, on a different platform. This is Android, this is iOS, and take the computer, and we will be 1 hour later, a little bit farther on in the Chovanshchina production. We are very excited about the options that the platform will open, also for a system like ours that is already working, is already up and running, and we are happy to contribute whatever is asked by the platform from us.
Christopher, I don't care who else offers Rosenkavalier, I want it from Vienna.
Unfortunately, we are playing tonight, not tomorrow, with Kirill Petrenko, and we can't offer it with Kirill Petrenko. But we will have a very nice
So, thank you very much. I will have a less technological presentation than Christopher, unfortunately. So this will be only words, but I hope it will give you a little insight and dreams on what we are going to present on the platform. We will begin with, in June 2016, with a commission of a new opera to Mark Gray on the theme of Frankenstein with stage director Alex Olé. So we are we're expecting that it will be a very challenging and interesting work, and that is also to us an interesting experience because the theme and the title of the work is of course very popular and very well known, but it will be of course a creation of opera, so that we hope to be able to grab a large audience with that opera, and of course, giving it a life after the performances on stage is a very important thing for us, and we're very happy to be with this project on europera.eu. And then the next project will be a bit later in 2016, because it will be at the end of the year in December, and that will be Le Coq d'Or, the Golden Cockerel, in staging by Laurent Pelly, which should be a co-production with Teatro Real, but as La Monnaie will be the lead co-producer, it will be presented under the brand of La Monnaie. And so we are in a more classical proposal there, but we hope that it will also open to a wider audience that title that is surely not the best known by the wide audience, but surely worth discovering.
Thanks, Thomas.
Yes, good morning, everyone. We in Finland, we are cooperating with the Finnish Broadcasting Company, and we are presenting two new operas. First of all, the first, actually, it's not an opera at all, but somehow we have been able to squeeze it in. It's a Sibelius Symphony, which will be a cooperation with the Finnish National Opera and the Finnish National Ballet. It will be premiered in February 2015. Conductor is Jukka-Pekka Saraste, and then we take the next stage, where we have the whole male chorus of ours, plus the Helsinki Philharmonic chorus, which is 60 male members of choruses. Plus we have two soloists, Lilli Paasikivi, Jaakko Kortekangas, and of course a lot of ballet dancers. So it's a symphonic piece which is can be called an opera as well, to put it nicely. It's the 150 years anniversary of Jean Sibelius. That's why we have picked it up, and it's a world premiere, totally new one. And then we will provide also as well a documentary which is presenting the Finnish National Opera, and it has also excerpts of Kullervo, making of Kullervo, and some interviews. And then the next piece will be in September 17. It's a live world premiere, Autumn Sonata, and we will include some contextual material which we are not aware yet how to do it, but we will do it. But it will be in 17.
As you will see, we had to have Sibelius. And so we made him write an opera 150 years later.
Well, good morning. Since the festival is in July, we will have the privilege to start in July 15 and then to be there again in July 16. In July 15, we will either have the Entführung aus dem Serai or Elcina. It's still to be decided, and to be decided with Arte, because Arte is the partner of the festival and has been the partner even before the beginning of this project. And in 2016 it will be Péléas and Mélisande. And we also have contextual material. We have some experience with contextual material because we have been broadcasting on Arte Concert for a long time. And among the contextual material we have something we call the web doc, which is on each opera that we show, kind of comprehensive web object in which you can either have a very short animation movie telling you the story of the plot of the opera, or a very advanced musicologic approach with a pianist and Alain Perrault explaining you of the subtleties of the score, and everything in between those two those two kind of objects. It's something that we have been launching 2 years ago, and we will, in the frame of youropera.eu, develop that kind of web objects to get the larger audience to be interested with opera as an art form and the pieces that we're going to show.
Thank you, Jérôme.
Good morning. As our friends from Berlin are at the Opernkonferenz in Hamburg, I'm just also talking quickly about Berlin. As you probably all know, Barry Kosky started there in the season 12-13, and he opened with an amazing trilogy of Monteverdi, one of which was Orfeo, in musical transposition by Elena Kastchernovin, an interesting Russian-Israeli composer. So this is something which has already been pre-recorded and which will be offered by Komische Oper, next to another amazing production by Barry Kosky, which is Bal im Savoy, which is still on the plan at the moment. And if you haven't seen it, go and have fun at that performance, which will then be streamed on the platform. In addition, Stuttgart Opera is going to present a new production by Philippe Bousmans, Belgian composer who will have his 80th birthday in May 2016. So around then we will present Reigen after the Arthur Schnitzler, conducted by Sylvain Cambrelin, our music director. And the other production will be a revival of a piece which we did last year and which we plan to bring up in 2018, which is, again, French, Edison Denisov, Russian composer, but French libretto, Boris Vian, L'écume des jours, which is directed by Yossi Villa and Sergio Morabito, and again conducted by Sylvain Cambrelin. And for the contextual material, we are very keen on installing a collaboration with the Film Academy in Ludwigsburg, which is a rather fascinating place where young people are doing from animation to documentation to cinema things. And for example, they will do an animated history of Stuttgart Opera. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm very much looking forward to that, and we'll try to contribute like that to the contextual material. Thank you.
Good morning, David Pountney, Welsh National Opera. We are offering two new commissions. Both of them actually are around the subject of the First World War. One is a piece called In Parenthesis, which is based on a truly amazing text by the Welsh artist and writer David Jones, who fought in the Battle of the Somme, and this is his poetic, mystical, and sometimes also humorous account of his experiences as a soldier in that terrible event. And this will be composed by Ian Bell, and this will appear in 2016. In 2017, we are offering a newly commissioned opera called Hedd Wyn. And Hedd Wyn was a young Welsh poet who offered his poetry to the Welsh Eisteddfod in 1917, but was himself killed in the war before the competition took place. So he famously won the Eisteddfod, and his empty chair was draped in black to signify the fact that this young poet had died before he could even be present there. So this is a very interesting and emotive subject. And this piece will be created by our youth opera, which is something we are very proud of, which actually is an organization which presents an opera in which almost everybody, from the third trombone to the stage manager to the singers to the stage staff to the makeup people, are all young people who come together to create this performance. Clearly, both these subjects, because they're real life historical topics, lend themselves very richly to presenting contextual material, and we are already talking to the BBC and other partners about creating documentary material that relates to these. But I would also like to say that one of the things that we would like very much to submit to this is actually made for digital product. Because that, to me, is something that is very important in this area, that apart from the very exciting opportunity to stream our actual opera performances, I'm very interested in the opportunities that this medium creates to create specific product rather than relaying something from the stage. And if you happen to pop onto our website at the moment and look at something called Occupation, you will see the kind of thing that we have in mind. This is a made-for-digital kind of operatic musical event, and we hope to be able to offer something of that sort to this program.
Thanks, David.
Good morning. From Oslo, we're going to be offering 2 productions. First of all, it's a brand new commission. It's called Human Plus, with music by Norwegian composer Rolf Wallin and libretto by Mark Ravenhill. It'll be directed by David Pountney, and Baldur Brunnyman is going to conduct it. And this opens in March 16. The other one is a new production of Rossini, La Cenerentola, which will be directed by Stefan Herheim, which opens in January 17. For both these productions, we're planning interviews with artists, creators, and behind-the-scenes films. And for the Human Plus, we're also thinking about making a documentary, trying to show the audience the various stages, all the way from the workshop stage until the opening of the premiere.
Thank you, Jan.
Good morning. Teatro Regio Torino has 2 proposals for this project. The first one is a very classical one. It is our Aida production, directed by William Friedkin, that will be presented in October 2015. It will be the opening of our 15-16 season, connected with the reopening in Torino of the totally renewed Egyptian Museum. So this will be the link with the territory, and maybe it could be an opportunity to have some kind of different contextual material. The second title is a new commission. It is La Ciociara. The English title is 2 Women, based on the novel by Alberto Moravia. There is also a very famous movie with Sofia Loren, you probably all know. The composer is Marco Tutino. Director is Francesca Zambello. It will be a co-production with the San Francisco Opera, but it will be the first time this new opera will be staged in Italy and in Europe, so we thought that it was a good idea to propose it for this project.
Hello, nice to meet you. I'm Dana Markova and representing Latvian National Opera. And we are presenting for the project, the first piece is Valentina, which world premiere we are expecting just after 2 weeks on 5th of December. Next slide, please. It's a Latvian opera, and there is an image of the performance. It's a young girl with Riga in her heart, that's what I must say. And the story is about, next slide please, about Valentina Freimane. She's still living cinema critic. She lives now in Berlin. About her life story. She comes from a very intelligent and rich Jewish family, and she's the only one who survived in the Holocaust in Riga. So the opera story comes from, starts at 1939 and ends at 1944, and shows this terrible period in her life. And this is a period also which is very important to Latvian history, because Latvia lost independency in connection to these events. And it's also, of course, emotional, touching love story of her, and story also about people who saved her. This is, you can see her, and also a book who was an inspiration to create this opera. Very briefly about cast. Composer, Artūrs Maskats, Latvian composer. It will be his first opera, but he's very active in composing. Has worked as instrumental and symphony orchestra, did a lot of works for symphony orchestra and ballet as well, and has worked also in Latvian National Opera as artistic advisor. And then stage director is Viesturs Kairiš, with international career as well. Started together with Aldis Hermanis in New Riga Theatre, and now staging opera houses. He's a film director, quite successful, did the Nibelungsring in Latvian National Opera, and works also in Berlin Kammerspiel. And the main role will be led by Inga Kalna, and Artūrs Maskats made this role especially for her, also a very good singer with international career. And now about the contextual material. Of course, it's a production and short clips about performers, curators, about the atmosphere. Of course, trailer, promotional clip, and also we can provide, as you all maybe, story of the opera, textual material, photos, written information, everything. And in case then Valentina is still living and still with us, so maybe it will be also interview with her. And it's also, we can spread this content in wider range to show also Riga as a place where everything happens. So, thank you.
Good morning. The Royal Opera is really delighted to be part of this programme, which, as Nicholas already said, is an extension of our existing cinema programme. We've chosen our new production of Szymanowski's Król Roger, or what we call King Roger, which we're very excited to be bringing to Covent Garden for the first time. And it's also the first collaboration between our opera director, Kaspar Holten, and music director, Antonio Papano. So it's a particularly exciting production for us, quite apart from being part of this programme. We're still discussing titles for the future, but the Royal Opera is committed and really pleased to be part of the development and to help and support the programme in conjunction with Opera Europa and the participating companies. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Agnes Klopocka. I'm from the Polish National Opera, and we are going to present two productions in the frame of the platform, the first of which will be The Haunted Manor in December 2015. The Haunted Manor is an opera called the Polish National Opera, widely beloved in Poland, but not so well known beyond the borders of our country. Composed in 1865, a rather amusing story about two sisters marrying two brothers, but with a far deeper context of preserving national traditions, as it was composed in a time when Poland actually didn't exist on European map. It will be a brand new production directed by David Pountney, with sets by Raymond Bauer and conducted by Andrew Jurkiewicz, and we are very happy to present this very beautiful part of our national heritage to broad audience. The second title, which we're going to present in 2017, is yet to be defined. Apart from those two productions, we are planning on presenting rich contextual material, both connected to those productions and related to the history of our opera house, which we think might be interesting as it, in a way, reflects the history of our country. So, thank you.
Many thanks to all of you who've come here today to give a flavour of what this site will be showing in terms of its major productions. When we were trying to finalise the name for this thing, my colleague Audrey did suggest at one point that we should actually call it www.davidpountney.eu. Given that a number of his shows seem to be materializing. But having just listened to him talk about the Welsh shows and the way he sees it helping to develop opera through this medium, I think he is a very good partner for it. You will also understand from what everyone has been saying that we're deliberately trying to combine popular titles with unknown ones, with heritage and the future. And in many cases, good examples from Torino and others, there is a deliberate attempt to do something which is great Italian heritage and something which is new, and likewise with some of the other theatres, so that if you view what we're producing over a period of 3 years or even 3 months, you will have a kaleidoscope of what opera can offer. Just to give you a little snapshot of how we open, the first opera will be a rather well-known one, La Traviata, from Madrid, Teatro Real, on the 8th of May, which is launch date. The following day, we switch to Amsterdam, thanks to our collaboration with Arte, and are able to show the premiere performance of Dutch National Opera's Benvenuto Cellini in the Terry Gilliam production. The next week, we go to Covent Garden, where, as Cormac says, the King Roger uniting for the first time Pappano and Holton as a creative team happens. The third week of May is the Kullervo from Finnish National Opera, and at the end of that month we have Valentina from Riga. So already there is quite a wide variety of stuff. June is Vienna month, and which Christopher has already explained to you, will include the famous Schenk Rosenkavalier, a sort of icon of Viennoiserie, but also the fantastic contextual and archive material that Vienna can offer. July, we of course go to Aix-en-Provence, where else, and have a focus on that wonderful festival, and so on. And looking a little bit further ahead, what we hope to do is when we do the production from Norwegian National Opera, that we do also a focus on Oslo, a focus on whatever else is happening in Norway. So we present a kind of picture of a country for whom opera is relatively new. The beautiful new opera house is a recent and magnificent construction which has revolutionized the approach to opera in Norway. But as some of you may not know, there are 25 other little opera companies all around Norway. Sometimes you have to swim down the fjord to find them. But it gives us an opportunity of showing a picture of an emerging operatic country. And then, by contrast, when we do Aida from Torino, we will fit it in with an overview of opera in the birthplace country of opera, so that there will be a kind of contrast there. This is just to give you a little idea of how the thing will be curated, and we will talk a little bit more about that later.
Okay. It would be difficult after those wonderful contents to speak about the structure of the platform. So perhaps a few words about the collaboration of Arte. Arte, as Nicolas said, as a French, German, European cultural channel, has, of course, a big interest in those European-wide projects. And when I look the list of the partners on the board now, I can see that since 20 years we had a lot of collaborations with most of those partners. And then I looked in the archives from Arte programs, and we indeed have we had a lot of collaborations with those opera houses. So it's a natural way for us to be part of this project that will hopefully be successful. And on the other side, we have the expertise of Arte Concert, which is, as Nicolas explained, the music platform of Arte. I have to tell that it's not only a classical music platform, we also have big successes with heavy metal. And but it's opening our audience, and it's bringing different audiences together. So now I'm here to present you the structure of the site. Perhaps you can jump to another slide, Audrey, because this one is it's not so sexy. Oh, okay, thank you. Okay. So I tried to explain you how the platform will be built. I'm not sure you really can see it. We are now working on the structure of the website, so the graphism is not decided yet, it's not ended yet. We're working on the functionalities. So I wanted to show you here that on the home page, on the main page of this platform, which will be in French, German, and English, so you can jump from one language to the other. You will find on the top of the page the main announcement of the month. We will have a possibility to have 3 different pictures to announce the next main showcase. We'll have the pink part is a contextual material, what we call now collections. It will be an aggregation of contents. It could be, for example, the European Opera Days. It could be all the German operas. It could be the best Traviatas of the year. It could be whatever you want. Then we'll have, I'm not sure you can see it, a place for the partners. It is very important that each partner has his own page, and there will be on the home page the possibility to see those different partners. And then we'll have a calendar with the upcoming showcases, but also we imagine to announce all the performances in the opera house, partner opera houses, to get the audience also to make to each opera. This is one of to understand that we will have live streams, and you will see details of performance. Possibility to find the subtitling in 6 languages, as Nicolas said, and all the contextual, all the description in 3 languages. Then we'll have the background material. We will have the possibility on this page, I'm not sure it's very clear, to find all the videos that are linked to this subject. And this is the page of the partners. So there's one picture bigger, where you see, for example, with the Opéra de Lyon. This is the list of all the partners. And I thought there was a detailed page on the partners, on each partner page you will see, we'll have a possibility to put all the material you want, all the interviews, all description of opera house, of contextual material also if you have an interview of your general director, and the list of performances which are available from this opera house. This is a part of the calendar I explained you, so the upcoming titles to lead the audience to the next events will have take place. So, and this is only a description of Arte Concert, because this platform will be close linked to Arte Concert. We have, for instance, in 2013, we had 350,000 views every month, and 600 video views as visitors, and we had more video views, 600,000 in a month. So we hope it will give a good entrance to the opera platform. So, and this is your part, I think. I'm sure you have a lot of questions afterwards regarding the contents, but it was an overview of the possibilities will be offered by this platform.
Marie-Laure said it was hard to follow the previous presentation. It's even harder for me now. I'm going to be very quick. Just want to give you a broader context, which Nicholas has already mentioned to a certain extent. There's this notion of professional development, which is a very boring term. It's, of course, what you've spent the last 48 hours doing, is learning from each other. But it is an important strand of the project. We had, as been alluded to already, a number of interesting discussions pre the christening of this project about the name of the platform. But we also decided to christen a new, as part of the Opera Europa proposals, part of Opera Europa services, a new professional forum. And this is really just to broaden out, it's just adding to what Nicholas mentioned earlier, how this project will benefit the whole membership and we hope the wider sector. There is now an audiovisual and digital media forum. We'll decide whether that's the final name that goes on the birth certificate, but anyway, we're calling it that for now, which is the forum not only for the partners, but for the wider membership, for those who work in this area. A number of houses have those words in the title of many of their staff, so there are obviously people now working in-house in this area. And it's that button. It's really just going to be the space within Opera Europa for us all to think about the questions that this experiment raises. What content, done by who, made how, with what partnerships, with what money, with what long-term impact on the art form, something that David was alluding to. So this is the space to discuss these things. We've already made progress yesterday on the rights issue. Those of you that were there will I hope have been encouraged by what you heard from our partners at IEMA and the EBU and IMZ. With those partnerships, we'll make progress together. We have a wider remit as part of the project to build your skills in this area. Think about the new financial models. Partnerships are obviously key, and the EBU has been mentioned already. And as you see, this is our cunning way to encourage you to pool together on one platform the site. But this new forum will be the opportunity to, as a smaller group, discuss those issues and make progress among those groups. And I have a date for you. Our first meeting will be on the 12th and 13th of March next year in Strasbourg. The first day will actually be more for the partners who will learn how the content management system will work and how you will be able to upload your videos. And as I'm the new member of staff, I've just added my contact details there. So if you have staff interested in this area, drop me an email.
Thanks. So, as you understand, a website without any content isn't of much interest. And in order to launch the website, we want to make sure that the diversity of opera in Europe is represented, which is why we're calling on all of you, beyond the 15 partners, to submit material. And we're not looking for long, full operas only. We're happy to have any contextual material, any information you'd like to share about opera in your company, in your region, in your country, to give the website some substance when we launch it on the 8th of May. Now, because we do not want to have 18 Traviatas, because we do not want only interviews of lead singers, because we want a diversity of type of information available, an editorial group has been put together, and it comprises representatives of Opera Europa, of Opera Europa's board, of Arte and its board, and of the EBU. And we bring these people together twice a year, which is why you have submission dates from your material. You will be receiving with the next newsletter, and it will also be available online, a very short questionnaire of what you would like, what you have available, what you could offer to the platform, whether it's archive photography of performances, architectural details of your building, original scores that you could send to us with annotations that would be nice to illustrate. If you have a documentary about your workshops or about the making of an opera production, or anything you could find or think might be interesting to share and promote the idea of opera in your town, in your country. If you want to get together with several opera companies to present a fuller picture of what's happening, it would also be great. So you will have to fill in a form, send it to us by the end of December so that our editorial committee can examine everything and try and balance out the content of the website for the launch date and then for later dates when we add on. And the website has to live. It has to have new material come on regularly, and that's not only full-length performances again. So if you know that you don't have it now, but in June you'll be filming your performance and you might be able to give us an extract, let us know so we can plan when to insert that into the website. You will receive another deadline, of course, for a second submission and a third submission, etc., as we go along. Now, as Nicholas mentioned, we launched the website on the 8th of May, and as you all very, very well know, since several years now, that's the weekend of the European Opera Days. The European Opera Days theme this year, very appropriately, is Opera Alive and Online, for the launch of the website, but also because we don't want to stop you from organizing that very well-loved event in your theater during the weekend of 9th of May. So we look forward to hearing what you're going to organize during your European Opera Days, your usual guided tours, meetings with artists, free concerts, everything you are used to doing, we would like you to keep doing on top of submitting material for the website. We will be organizing for very specific activities, live relays onto the youropera.eu platform as well during the European Opera Days. So if you know that, for instance, your opera company will be holding, let's say, karaoke of a very famous piece with 600 people in your auditorium, and you can film that, and it's a very precise hour, we can plan to have that streamed live onto the platform. All these things have to be planned a long time in advance, so any proposal you have, again, will have to be submitted to the editorial group, which is why we need to know anything you have in mind as soon as possible. The opening of the platform will be with a live performance of La Traviata from Madrid, which happens to take place during our spring conference, which will take place from the 6th to the 9th of May. So you can all come to Madrid on the 6th or 7th of May, spend 24, 48, 36 hours with us, whatever, and either stay with us on the evening of the 8th of May, see the performance in the auditorium, see the performance outdoors on the Plaza de Oriente, or go home and watch it online. So the only thing... watch it, yeah. The only question left is, what is your contribution going to be? So.
There's very little to add to what Audrey has succinctly said about that, other than to say that I think that the launch of this site at that time gives us a chance to turbocharge the whole European Opera Days idea. That it enables you to share what you're doing easily and more widely than in the past. I think personally that there is a big opportunity for combinations and partnerships on this, and that one of the ways of celebrating European Opera Days in Italy, for example, would be to put together a little clip which takes us round, a whistle-stop tour round Italy. And at the beginning of next month, I'll be going to Milan to talk to the Expo 2015 people about how we might pull something together which would celebrate and focus on opera in Italy. Expo, conveniently, also is launched in May. They fitted in with us, of course. The special Italian month is due in October 2015, which is the end of Expo, so they could be valuable partners for us. But I could also see how you could do this in many different countries, or in combinations of countries, or combinations of opera houses. And I think this is an opportunity that we would be crazy not to make the very most of. We won't get it 100% right in 2015, but what I do think we have is an opportunity to make 2015 the widest ranging European Opera Days we've ever managed, thanks to the launch of this site. I hope you bother to read the newsletter when it comes out. You should receive it very early in December, and the form that Audrey has designed for you to submit your stuff by the 22nd of December is very simple, intentionally so. I would stress what she said first, which is, don't bombard us with complete opera performances. We want short form material, really. Okay, if you've got something absolutely wonderful that's complete, then we're interested. But who was it who said yesterday that the average time span of watching is 20 minutes? I think a lot of time spans are shorter than that. The sort of well, I think something arresting and snappy is what we're especially looking for. But please submit it. And Audrey talks about the editorial group meeting once every 6 months, which implies some appalling clear-out meeting. Of course, we will be editing throughout the period, and the coordination of that will be done from our office in Brussels by Audrey and Luke and me. So please contact us at any time. But we do want it to be viewed objectively by a wider group who we will keep constantly consulted. I'm not sure whether Marie-Laure is able to tell us who the Arte representatives will be, but I guess that they will represent both sides of the Franco-German equation. But I'm happy to say that the representatives from the Opera Europa board are our President Eva Kleinitz and our Vice President Caspar Holten. And they're wonderful people to have on board for this project, and I think you know that they will not just be pushing their own material. They're generous people.
The representatives of Arte will be, most of you know them, from Arte France, Émilie Dejean. She's the head of the music department, Art et Spectacle from Arte France. And this is for the French contribution. And from Germany, it will be Wolfgang Bergmann, who is from ZDF, the second German channel. He is the Arte coordinator, and he is the president of our Musica group. At Arte, we have a group of specialists of classical music for all the musical programs, and he is the president of this group. So there are two very good representatives.
That's great. And in addition to that, we will have representation from EBU, as Audrey and Luke said, because it's important for us that although our formal partner is Arte on this, that we galvanize the goodwill and interest of all the broadcasters throughout Europe, and certainly their contributions by Peter Manura and by Matthew Trustram and others in the creation of this thing has been very supportive. I want to give Bernd Hellthaler a chance to say something on behalf of IMZ at some point. But
my question is on the target audience that you're looking at. I found the selection of titles fascinating, but unlikely to appeal to a new audience. So is this a deliberate choice that it's going to be more for an established opera audience? Subsidiary questions to that is, how are you going to engage with people? Are people going to sign up so you can have an email address and keep in contact with them, or do they come by and view and go away again? And how do you evaluate how the project went? If that's not too many questions.
Yes, it is, but we'll try and answer them. I hate these multiple questions. You all do it, don't you? Three questions. Come on. My memory is not that good.
Part one, target audience.
Fine, they're perfectly fair questions, Mike. The answer to your first one is, why do you think I was emphasizing short-form material? The trouble about talking about all these showcase operas, and I sort of sensed a certain competition of our dear partners to make their contribution more obscure than the previous one. Of course, we want to show edgy, new work as part of this thing, and we realize that it has not got an obvious appeal of a Zauberflöte or a Traviata or a Rosenkavalier to a wide audience. Nonetheless, it is part of what we are committed to offer. At the same time, you will notice that we are showing Traviata and Rosenkavalier and Bohème and the like, because we realize that those are entry points to people. But I feel as important as those showcase operas is the short form material, the stuff that will grab people. And that's why I am putting an emphasis in looking out for contributions from all around on exactly that kind of stuff. In terms of how we reach out and inform the target audience of what is there, we can't force them to watch it, but at least we can try and make them do it. We have a meeting with the Opera Europa group of marketing and communication managers in Brussels on the 1st of December, and we will be developing with them and with our partners, particularly Arte, who already, as you can imagine, have a following for their cultural brand over the next months, so that there will be a campaign in place by the time of the launch. It would be wonderful if Opera Base were part of that.
Actually, if we can come to the marketing conference on 1st of December in Brussels, this could be a possibility to see how a collaboration could be possible.
Somebody else is going to have to answer that because I couldn't hear it.
So actually the meeting on the 1st of December is with a marketing representative from every single of the partner agencies. So yes, please come along. And at that point we will work on a very specific and precise strategy to elaborate to make sure that everything is very clear and that we answer questions that you have there. Just if anyone else is interested, just please kind of send me an email to let me know.
Just to answer the question about how the audience will be informed, we have a system of you will have the possibility to be connected on the website, so we will become alerts if you want, and we will have a classical digital strategy to announce all the new opera contents online.
I don't underestimate the difficulties we will encounter. It's a big, it's a short time to get this together. And in practical terms, it is unlikely that everything will be perfect and in place by the 8th of May. But we're bloody well going to try. And in some ways, it's always better to have too short a time to get something together. It gives a little urgency. Bernd, would you like to say your spiel? Do you want to jump up and say it from here, or are you happy to?
No, I'm standing here. I'd be visible to everyone. The IMZ Academy is a system where we educate new directors. If you have directors for television, I mean, multi-camera directors and so on. If you plan a production with television, please think of the IMZ Academy, and you can contact the IMZ and get information there. In addition, I want to say one thing about my company, which is EuroArts, and I hand over the microphone to Isabel. EuroArts is a company which distributes in DVD and international television opera and concerts and documentaries.
Hi, everybody. Well, first of all, congratulations to everybody who is here. It's a really great European project. It's really a pleasure to be here and attending this conference and to see how exciting it is for everybody to be part of this project, which is really growing up so fastly. And from our side, as an independent production company, what we think all these European efforts could be also very interesting for international audiences, means apart from Europe, we can imagine that after this 6 months period to see on your website all these operas, to see to evaluate from our side how could be the perspective in the international market. So if you have some question to ask to EMZ or concretely to our company, we are ready to give you some ideas. So.
Thank you. I appreciate that we've flooded you with a lot of information, some of which I hope is clear, but some of which is probably quite difficult to absorb, so that you can ask hugely penetrating and intelligent questions of our expert panel. I don't include myself. But we are here to help, and over the next weeks and months, I and my colleagues and our partners are here to try as best we can to answer your questions. Those of you who are partners in this project will know Luca Shaughnessy because he will have been in touch with them and will have bullied them about submitting the paperwork that is necessary in anything that involves the European Commission. Some of you will also know him from a previous life or his previous lives in managing the Education Association, RESEO, and more recently at Opera de Dijon. But I would just like to pay tribute to him for the work he did in pulling together this application so that it was successful with the Commission. It was a massive task. And of course it could not have been done without the contributions of Arte and the other partners. But it was Luke who worked through the night and got it over the line about 10 minutes before the deadline. And we... 9 minutes. and we owe him a debt for that. And it's wonderful that with all that knowledge that he has acquired of that he has joined the team to push this forward, and I'm sure you will find him very helpful. But equally, both Audrey and I, and indeed Aline, our communications coordinator, will be involved up to our necks in this project. It's for us quite daunting, I can tell you. And it is, without any doubt, the most ambitious project we have launched as Opera Europa during our 10 or so years involved with it. It is not the only thing that Opera Europa is going to be involved with over the next 3 years. We shall continue, we hope, to work with opera companies about conferences and with our detailed specialist forums and so on. But it will inevitably occupy quite a bit of our time. And the reason for the time we've spent on it with you today, and thank you very much for your kind, quiet attention while we've been rabbiting on, is that it's something that we know it's a dangerous experiment, but we know that the way it will work is if you do all take part and contribute and pass the word around. Part of the awareness campaign, which Mike and Muriel quite rightly draw attention to, is up to you. If you tell your audiences that this is happening, then that's a start, just as it is with our broadcast partners. A free ad in all your theatre programs will be very much appreciated.
With the Commission logo.
It's 11:30. I don't want to kill any difficult questions if you've already formulated them, but if not, feel that you can do it later, and we should probably move on to our concluding session. Am I gagging anyone unnecessarily? Thank you.